Friends, there is an addition of two topics in your courseware, legal and regulatory aspects of banking. They are Financial Stability Development Council and Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Council. See, during this session, we would be discussing both these topics, that is Financial Stability Development Council, FSDC, in part 1, and other one, the Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Council in the commission in the part 2. So far as the Financial Sector Development Council is concerned, friends, this the financial sector regulation, the financial sector regulation is a vital service for bringing healthy and efficient financial system in the economy. There are different legislators, different regulators for various segments in the financial sector, such as Reserve Bank of India, RBI for commercial banks, NBFC and government, then SEBI for capital market, IRDA for insurance, then regulate PFDRA, that is pension fund, PFDRA for pension funds, and so on. At the same time, there should be the coordination among these regulators so as to ensure efficiency, as also to overcome, also to avoid overlapping of the various functions. So in this direction, the government of India, has set up the Financial Stability Development Council in December 2010 with the Finance Minister as the chairman. And in this the topic, we will discuss on the composition of FSDC. For our discussion purpose, we will call it as FSDC, that is Financial Stability Development Council. The composition of the FSDC and other structure or the wings of, we can say that the wings of the FSDC in brief. When we talk about the composition, as I told you, the chairman is none other than Finance Minister of the Government of India. The Finance Minister is the chairman. Then the members of other regulators. Say how many regulators, means who are the regulators? They are Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, IRDA and PFRDA. They are the head of the all these regulators are the members. Then the financial secretary. Then comes other secretaries of Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Financial Services, and recently government has also added, there is Secretary of Department of Information Technology, there is the Department of Technology, there is MEITY, and the chairman in Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India. Then lastly, the chief economic advisor. This is actually the composition of the council. Then we would be discussing what are the functions of this council. Function to strengthen and institutionalize the mechanism for maintaining financial stability and development. Name itself is financial stability, financial stability development. Here it is to strengthen and institutionalize the mechanism for maintaining financial stability and development. Then another function is the monitoring of macroprudential supervision of the economy, including functions of the large financial conglomerates, including large financial conglomerates. Then another function is that to enlarge inter-regulatory coordination, to enhance, not sorry, to enhance inter-regulatory coordination. Then lastly, the focus on financial literacy and financial inclusion. These are the major functions of FSDC. In order to accomplish these functions, there are various, we can say that the wings, various departments or various groups within the FSDC, various groups or various committee within the FSDC. The first and the foremost one is the FSDC subcommittee. That it is a very important, it is a most important group or committee in on functional responsibility, in terms of the functional responsibility, and this is headed by the Governor of Reserve Bank of India, and all other members of the FSDC are also, all other members of the council are also the members of the subcommittee or subcommittee. In addition, there are all the four deputy governors of RBI is also included, are also included as the additional member. Then additional secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, the additional secretary. This is the composition. Then this subcommittee, the main function of the subcommittee is to correlate or coordinate among various other departments or various other groups in each functional areas and submit the information to the council, which is headed by the finance minister. Now there are other wings or other groups within the FSDC. In addition to the subcommittee, there are 7 groups. There are 7 groups within the FSDC. We will touch all other groups one by one. One is the Inter-Regulatory Technical Group. We can say that IRTG. It is actually started in September 2011. The FSDC set up in December 2010 and 2011 September. This group has been set up, and the main function of this group is to inter-regulatory coordination among the financial regulators, financial sector regulators. That is one. Inter-regulatory coordination among the financial sector regulators. One. Then another is analyzing the systemic financial stability risk. Systemic financial stability risk. Then providing this input to the subcommittee. They will submit this input to the subcommittee, which in turn submit to this council. Okay. This group is headed by the executive director in charge of the executive director in charge of the financial stability RBI, and other members from other regulators and the level of not below the level of chief general managers are also the members of the group or the committee. Another group is technical group on financial inclusion and financial literacy. There is a function is that this is also inter-regulatory coordination, or we can say that inter-regulatory forum for monitoring financial inclusion and financial literacy. Set up in November 2011, within 2 months of setting up of the IRTG. This group has been set up, that is in November 2011. This is headed by the Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India in charge of financial stability, and other from representative from other regulators or members are from other regulators members are representing this group. Another group or another committee, we can say that group for our discussion purpose. Another group is that Interregulatory Forum for Monitoring Financial or Large Financial Conglomerates. The main function, what are the functions? Interregulatory Forum for Monitoring Financial Conglomerates, followed by then this main function is the monitoring of the activities, monitoring of the financial activities of the large financial conglomerates. Then it is set up in August 2012, after 1 year, and headed by Deputy Governor, Reserve Bank of India, in charge of Department of Banking. And others are executive directors of all other regulators. So there is a composition of the third group. And fourth group is the working group on resolution time on financial financial institutions. Working group on resolution time for financial institutions to examine the existing resolution time frame or framework for the entire financial sector as a whole and identify the current gaps in the national level, national resolution time or framework vis-a-vis the financial stability board key attributes. Financial stability board's attributes, but first this is they are examining, they are comparing with that of the national level vis-a-vis financial stability board key attributes and recommend for legislative changes if need be to address the gaps. Wherever gaps are there, that should be addressed. For that they will suggest. It was set up in 2013. This headed by Deputy Governor, Reserve Bank of India, and Deputy Governor, Reserve Bank of India, and other members are secretary level from the other departments, then Department of Economic Affairs as the co-chairman. Deputy Governor is the chairman, and secretary from the Department of Economic Affairs is the co-chairman. Then another group within the FSDC. Please remember that these all the things are from within the FSDC. Besides the major one, there is subcommittee. So subcommittee is there. There is an intermediary between these groups. These groups main this one, they are executing the various functions and which are being provided to the subgroup, subcommittee, and subcommittee in turn to the FSDC. So this is why it is going. So the another group is microfinancial monitoring group, that MFMG. The main function is keeping track of the microeconomic and financial developments in providing early warning signals. It was set up in May 2012, headed by the Chief Economic Advisor of the Government of India. Chief Economic Advisor is the chairperson, and other members are also there. Then another group is Early Warning Group. The Early Warning Group name itself is also the function is to give early warning on what? The function is to coordinate here the responses from Government of India as well as from the regulators on in crisis situation. What are the responses? That should be that coordinating the responses from these two authorities. One is the regulators as well as the Government of India. Set up in 2012 June, headed by Deputy Governor, Reserve Bank of India, and members, Joint Secretary of Department of Economic Affairs and Joint Secretary of Department of Financial Services. Then another group, as I told you, there are 7, we can say that subgroups for undertaking these functions in addition to the subcommittee. So another group is that crisis prevention and monitoring framework. Crisis prevention, as we know that disaster management like that, here it is crisis prevention and Monitoring Framework, that is CPMF function. What are the functions? Assisting regulators and stakeholders in identifying, mitigating the emerging threats to financial and threat to the financial and macroeconomic stability. This assisting regulators and stakeholders in identifying and mitigating the financial and macroeconomic stability in crisis. That besides highlights the prevention aspect apart from the management facility. These are the functions of the group, that is crisis prevention and monitoring framework. For monitoring framework, that is CPMF. It was set up in October 2012, headed by Chief Economic Advisor. The second one is headed by the Chief Economic Advisor. Members representation from all other departments and the regulators. So we have seen this FSDC was constituted or set up by Government of India in December 2010 with the Finance Minister as a chairperson, and the composition include chairman, that's Finance Minister, and heads of the all other regulators, that is Reserve Bank of India, CB, the IRDA, then this PFDRA, then secretaries of the Department of Economic Affairs, the Department of Financial Services. In addition, there is secretary from this Information and Technology, it's MEITY, then chairman IBBI, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, and Chief Economic Advisor. That is the council, we can say that. Now, within the council, I repeat, within the council, there is subcommittee that is headed by Governor of Reserve Bank and other members we have explained. Then again, there are 7 groups that one by one we discussed with, already dealt with. So remember, council, then subcommittee is the most important so far as the functional responsibility is concerned. Then comes for accomplishing or assigning or accomplishment of the